Hi everybody, this is Laura
And Arnie.
with Crazy Cool Cakes. Today we'll be teaching you how to make these beautiful Christmas angel cupcake toppers, inspired by precious moments.
Our video is part of this wonderful holiday collaboration. Be sure to check out all of these Christmas-themed tutorials.
You can find the links to all of these tutorials underneath our video.
Let's go ahead and get started.
First thing we're going to do is cut a 2-inch circle for each one of our angels. To create the beautiful white wings, we're going to need some white gum paste, and I'm going to roll a little pea-sized ball, and we're going to need a total of 8 of these. I'm rolling it into a long teardrop shape and flattening it with my finger. Once we have a total of 8 pieces made, we're going to arch each individual teardrop shape, and we're going to add them to our base. Add the first one on one side of the circle about halfway up. You're going to need a total of 4 for each side. The video is very sped up here, but I am adding a little bit of edible glue to the back of each piece. There are our beautiful angel wings. For the angel's robe, I'm going to roll out a piece of white gum paste about the size of a gumball. Then I'm going to roll it into a teardrop and semi-flatten it with my finger. Here I'm using the blunt end of my straight blade to create some nice indentations into the robe. As you can see, they fan outward from the point. After I add a little bit of edible glue, I'm going to place it right between the wings. I'm going to bend my awesome straight blade and cut off the excess. Here I'm using a beautiful pale ivory to create the angel's head. While holding the ball in my palm, I'm going to place my middle finger just over half of the ball and gently roll it back and forth till it gives me this shape. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of the head and place it right on top of the point of the robe. Using my smallest ball tool, I'm going to create a tiny little hole right in the center of the face. For the nose, I'm going to roll a tiny little ball, and I'm going to roll it into a tiny little teardrop and place it into the tiny little hole. Sorry, I cracked myself up. Okay, that is a pretty cute nose. For the ears, we're going to do the exact same thing. After you roll each little ball into a teardrop shape, semi-flatten it, and then you're going to place them right on the side of the head. Just like that. Be sure to give them a good little press. To create the mouth, I'm using a number 8 tip, and I'm gently pressing it into the face. The next thing we're going to make is the little collar that goes around the angel's neck. For this, we're just going to need a little tiny white strip. It doesn't need to be very long, just long enough to look as if it's going around the neck. To create a nice ruffle effect, I'm going to thin out just one side of the strip, and then I'm going to use a smaller ball tool to create small indentations along the edge. Add a little bit of edible glue to the back of the collar and then place it right under the chin. For the eyes, we're going to need 2 little tiny balls of black gum paste. You're going to roll each one into a tiny teardrop and flatten it. Add a little bit of glue and carefully add it to the face. For the little white tears at the bottom of each eye, you're going to roll a little tiny white ball of gum paste and roll it into a very thin little worm. We need only 2 little small pieces. Add a small amount of edible glue to the bottom of each eye and then carefully add the tears. To make my angel look even more precious, I'm going to add little tiny white glow dots to the eyes. I'm using a small nail dotting tool and white gel food coloring. Now I'm painting on 2 little eyelashes for each eye, and I'm using black gel food coloring and a super fine little paintbrush. So cute! I'm giving my angel some beautiful rosy red cheeks, and for this I'm using some red petal dust. I'm also using the same dust to shade in the mouth. Making the hair is always the funnest part for me. For this, I'm going to use a beautiful brown gum paste, and I'm going to roll a long, thin worm. This one's about 7 inches, so I can get 2 strands out of this. My angel's going to have curly brown hair just like me. So I'm looping the entire worm little by little and holding it in my left hand so that it doesn't unravel on me. Making little curls like this does take a little bit of practice, so if your first ones don't come out, don't worry. Just keep at it, and before you know it, you'll have perfect little curls. As you saw, I cut one of the curls in half because I want the ear to show, so I'm going to be placing half of the curl above the ear and the other half below the ear. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the head. I'm only adding glue where the curls are going to be touching. I've made another curl, and I'm going to place it right over the first one, and I'm just being careful not to cover the little ear. You can get as creative as you want with the hair. The trick is just to make sure that you can't see the scalp through any of the curls. I'm making some cute little small curls just to fill in the empty spaces and to give her some cute little bangs. Oh my gosh, that is just too cute. Here's a cute way to make some hair for a little boy angel. Roll out a little tiny worm, flatten it, and you can cut it in half to create little cute sideburns. I'm going to add hair to the top of his head by creating little teardrop shapes and semi-flattening them with my finger. There's many different hairstyles I can give my angel, but I'm going to give him a nice clean cut. He's looking too cute. Last but not least, I'm going to use my wheel tool to create some little lines in his hair. Adorable. Our angels need halos, so for this I'm going to use a buttercup colored gum paste and I'm going to roll it into a long thin worm. This is actually enough for both halos. Trim off the ends so that you have a nice blunt end and then just glue it together. Just like that. For the little holly leaves that go on their robes, you just need 2 flattened little teardrop shapes. Use a blunt end of your blade to create a vein down the center. And here I'm using a number 6 tip to cut out little half circles all around the teardrop. I'm going to do the same for my second leaf as well. I'm going to glue these to the bottom of the robe with the pointy end facing inward. And I'm going to be sure to leave a tiny little space between the 2 leaves. I rolled out 3 little tiny holly berries and I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the robe and just add them into place. Now that's precious. I'm ready to paint my halo, so I'm going to add a little bit of vodka to my edible gold dust, and using a small brush, I'm just going to paint it on. I'm making sure to paint both sides very well. I'll set these off to the side for a few minutes to dry. In the meantime, I'm going to add some beautiful pearl shimmer to my entire topper. For a little added effect, I'm going to use my gold airbrush color and a small nail dotting tool to add some gold sparkle to my entire red base. Lastly, I'm using the pointy end of my small nail dotting tool to add little tiny white dots. I'm using white gel food coloring for this. So sparkly. Now that my halos are dry, I can add them to my angels. Just add a little bit of edible glue to where it'll be touching the base and the hair. Gently press it into place. Are these precious or what?
They're beautiful, baby.
Thank you, baby. Precious Moments Christmas Angels. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial, everybody. Thank you for watching.
And we want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas.
Don't forget to check out all these other wonderful Christmas-themed tutorials. You can click on the photos now, or you can find the links underneath our video. We'd like to invite you to check out some more of our awesome Christmas-themed tutorials. But more importantly, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all of our subscribers.